And folks, welcome back here to DreamHack Austin. We're getting into the elimination best of threes. We got Luminosity taking on Fragsters. It's Denmark versus Brazil. We got a Denmark representative up here with me. It is my man Niels. You know, looking fresh right now with the DreamHack swag.
Course, yeah.
Yeah.
36 hours of travel. DreamHack, of course, very nice to hook me up with some clothes since some unnamed airline company lost it. Very nice of them.
You really hate to see that, Niels, but I don't hate to see you looking fresh.
Yeah,
with
fresh
the gear
to death,
on.
of course.
As
get yours at the DreamHack store, of course.
There you go. Yeah, definitely. That is definitely hashtag ad.
Yeah. Hashtag sponsored, boys.
As we do see the stage here looking beautiful with that trophy dead. So that's what of course they're fighting for. But of course these teams are a little bit further away from it than the rest, having lost their best of ones yesterday, which honestly Fragsters' loss was surprising to me. They wound up losing to E United, which did not expect that. Luminosity, on the other hand, it's a team to me that I can't understand why they're struggling. You know, Steel comes in. He's having to play an entry fragger role, having the in-game lead again. It's kind of odd. And then Luminosity's performances have just not been great. Like outside of qualifying for ECS, and then I think they did qualify for DreamHack Valencia. So 2 LAN events they've been able to qualify for. That's good. But everything else has really been a struggle for them. They struggled in EPL. They've had a slew of events they were unable to qualify for. And every LAN that the core of this team has been to has always ended in them going out in the groups. Yeah. And that's several LANs that they've gone to, like from the end of last year to today, where it's just always been group stage exits for this Luminosity team. So it's definitely an uphill battle for them.
Yeah, you can feel like with the addition of Steel and also Zach coming in the coaching position, that should bring a lot of experience, a lot of LAN experience, especially into this team, and help these younger players to kind of calm down in the hard situations. But I haven't really seen the full effect of that yet, so I'm still looking forward to see how that duo can enable the rest of these players to play up to their fullest potential. Talking about potential, the guy to the right of here, Stown, of course. You all are pronouncing his name wrongly, by the way.
What is it?
Stown.
Stown.
Yeah, Stown. Not Stavin.
Sorry. So we'll go with Stown. 16 years old. Definitely a big talent. Fragsters is definitely a team on the come up. Did so good at Bets at Masters. Took third, beat Gambit, beat Virtus Pro. Qualified for a couple LAN events, including this one. And now we are going to go live on Inferno. This is the map pick of Fragsters. They are definitely heavily favored on this map. Luminosity, really poor team on Inferno thus far. So looking to take that edge is going to be Fragsters. We do see them here on the terrace side. Looking to challenge Banana. PKL holding his ground with the USP, but now we'll slowly retreat back to the B-bomb side. But the third man is on the rotation, Steel.
Steel coming in. Showtime on the back of the Banana. Yell on the back of the bomb site. USP in hand, but will be taken out immediately. Stown with a double. Steel, no. Nice comeback from him. 2v3 situation now. Bubski on full HP, 1v3 now with a Glock.
Oof. And that is going to be Nekus and Showtime combining to close out the round. So a good start for Luminosity on a map that they aren't necessarily well received on, I guess you could say. Like their record on Inferno has definitely been lackluster building up to this event, but definitely off to a good start there by getting that. You'll see 2 M4s, a FAMAS, 2 UMPs coming out. Fragsters, of course, will go ahead and do us the honor of force buying some CZs and a couple of Deagles.
Yeah, Dragonfly obviously staying at the P250 because he wants to save enough money to get that AWP as quick as possible as the AWPer of the team. I feel like he's... Usually you look to Stown as the make or break player if Frax is going to do well, but Dragonfly actually I feel like is more of that caliber because if he's not having a good game with his AWP, that brings the whole team like level down, and they need him to be on point, especially when they're challenging against better AWP players on like an aggressive side, for example, on Inferno. Yeah,
I will say this about Fragsters. Usually they have a really tight frag distribution almost every game I play. Like, while Stavin will probably be noted as their best player, a lot of the time I feel like most of these players can step up. Like, maybe Torben a little bit on the weaker side as the in-game leader, but the other 4 really can all deliver.
But it's down to the system they have. Like, everyone is allowed to step up in that system. Everyone can call if they feel like they can go into a scenario. Usually it's down to call it, but the others can do that as well.
And it's nice because you have a nice balance to someone like Stavin who's very aggressive, and you have someone like Refreza who's a little bit more passive, and so they're able to kind of balance it out. But in this round, they're going to be fighting uphill because they're definitely with a little bit of lacking in the utility department. The smoke flash here on Stavin as we do see them putting a little bit of presence over here at top mid. And they get a pick, but this is looking like a B split right now because they're coming up archway. They put a smoke towards library, so their ability to rat B is pretty strong, and that means the B defense is kind of having to split their attention 2 different directions, and Torben takes down Showtime, so Steel is isolated, and Fragsters are looking sharp on this so far.
Oh, this is a problem for Steel right now, but he does get the double, though. Torben and Refresh both go down. 3v3 now. Down has picked up the FAMAS in CT spawn, takes out another one with a Distant Eagle, not gonna get the triple, but Dragonfly now all on his own. The bomb has been planted, P250 in hand, still just in front of him. He can get the dink in this situation, and he will take the first one, goes for the second, but not gonna get it. It's gonna be PKL, double for the Brazilian.
Oh man, that is definitely a round that makes Luminosity sweat, though. Definitely not wanting to come that close, you'd imagine. A lot of economic damage done, and the bomb plant comes in for Fragsters. Now, because they did force buy this round, even with the bomb plant, they can't really buy this next round, or if they did, it would certainly set them back if it didn't go well. So likely they will just take a save here and get a really nice full buy in the next round. So this is where Luminosity should be able to just go ahead and get that 3-0 start.
Yeah.
Unless some of these Deagles can pop off, you never really know.
Never really know with the Deagles.
Especially what we just saw last round.
Yeah, and Torben has 2 flashes and a smoke, so they definitely have an execute in mind. Playing very defensively. Torben starting off taking down PKL. Neck is in a good position, though.
Yeah, gets the bench with the M4 here coming up, but does get taken down by Torben, the in-game leader, leading by example in the fragging department this time around. Not the usual suspect for that, but he's definitely had impact here. Maybe giving his team a bit of a chance as Dragonfly has collected an M4, and Bubsky now has a FAMAS as well. They're wrapping into A. Yeah, they're definitely going to get a bomb plant. No question about that, but can they hold off the retake when they have no armor? That's going to be the real question.
Dragonfly position here is going to be extremely key. If Torben can play aggressive with that Deagle, Bubsky can play defensive on the side, they have a real chance here.
Utility coming in the clear out pit. Showtime and company trying to march their way forward upside the lane. Also a player at Motorap, and Showtime is leading in with the UMPs, doing great work here. It's all on Dragonfly. He gets one, but again, lacking that armor. Steel's going to be able to get the duel. The fuse comes in. Luminosity does indeed get 3-0, but it came at a huge cost to them. Like, these have not been easy rounds.
Imagine like the small margins going Fragsters' way now, because they've been so close in a multitude of rounds where they haven't had the right utility, they haven't had the right weaponry setup. So when they get that full buy, I feel like Luminosity, they have to be, well, to quote another famous caster, sweating bullets at this point. Like, this is such a hard scenario for them to get in. Full setup, they get all the utility on the T side. Dragonfly is on the op. This is going to be one of those rounds where we can kind of make an image of what the rest of this match is going to be like. Aggressive play, though, on Banana. Yeah,
aggressive stuff here. And actually, Showtime, this is a new position for him. He used to play towards the A side of the map, but with Steel coming onto the team, he's kind of transferred more over towards the B side. Neck is the one leading the way, though, getting that first kill. So definitely a nice incident advantage with Luminosity on the triple B push. And now they fall back into a little bit more of a standard setup. They get a boost as well on CT spawn. And so that means Fragsters have an uphill climb. They don't really have control of anything. They're starting to clear out top B. So it's giving them a little bit of something to work with, at least denying some type of information. But Luminosity are fine to sit back and play center now that they do have the edge.
Dragonfly. This is one of the positions where he can come up big, but I don't feel like the push is going to come to B anyways. He's staying here as the stationary all player. If someone peeks out, he's going to take them down. The rest of the team is heading up towards A, taking that control slowly but surely. Top mid, crossing that off the list. Setting Molotovs and flashes up, going in towards the bomb site.
Yeah, just standard map control right here from Fragsters, getting control of top mid, pushing CTs back towards pit site, just not allowing Luminosity to get any extra information, cheat, you know, a fourth player towards A or be able to do anything like that. So at least they're kind of keeping Luminosity honest. It's just all about the fact that they're still playing a 4-on-5 in the end. And Dragonfly...
Yeah, no smokes left on the B side. That's a read right now. When this is done, they can rush in. There's one Molotov left on Steel. Let's see if they decide to just go through it.
The big thing is going to be about whether or not they deal with this boost, right? And they do get Showtime down, but again, Steel is up here. They do check for him, but Steel does still get the kill. He's able to get away with 19 HP. Puts an incendiary down. Torben actually getting caught in that for a good amount of time. Takes a lot of damage, but does get out. And will... No, he doesn't get the bomb plant. Steel burns him all the way down. It creeped up from the pit into the site, I suppose. And so what a hero incendiary from Steel.
And it didn't even look like it was in the right position that he thought about it.
Yeah, I thought Torben got out of it. Like, I thought it was just in the pool area. I thought when he jumped in sight, he'd get away.
The magic of Molotovs, man.
Oh, yeah, I guess it expanded and hit him. I guess we'll see it here, maybe? No, okay, we're going to get to see Torben's Deagles instead, which we're good. Okay.
Going for it. Let's see if we can get...
No, nothing. All right.
Okay. Fair enough. But yeah, I feel like, to be honest, the read was pretty good. So basically, they're coming up. They're taking mid control. They have one player on Banana. The player on Banana sees the first smoke go down and then the secondary smoke go down.
Oh, here we go.
45 seconds to go. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. It doesn't really seem like...
So it looks like it's in the pool. It's looking normal. Looks like Torben got out of it. And...
yeah, that looks weird.
Yeah, it's looking like... yeah, I guess it did... Wait, where?
There's no fire. Like,
Oh, you can like kind of see a little bit of hint of orange on the wall.
Yeah, okay. Wow, that's so unlucky.
Man.
Because visually, you would think that you're like clear. But
Yeah.
you're still losing HP. He's probably planning close to the edge as well.
Steel's probably baffled by that himself, but he's probably like, F yeah, man.
Yeah, Steel is the best, man.
He is definitely a character and a half.
Makes me smile.
Fragsters able to buy back into this. AWP still on Dragonfly. Of course, Galil on Torben and a couple of UMPs. And Dragonfly is actually leading with an op through apartments. Not something you see every day. Not the normal position to be leading T-side opping, but we'll see what it can do.
This might be the bait play. Usually some teams, then he's going to scope out, then Yek is going to be ready, but that's not going to be the case anyway. It's just going to be the full-on push. Yek is at the back of the bomb side, though. Takes down Stown. 3v4. Bomb. Isn't pit not planted yet. Still 3 Molotovs. Will be thrown over now. Dragonfly is in pit. This is a round that Fragsters should not be able to lose. They have an op in pit. They have the bomb side control. Bubsky is in middle. Surely there's no way.
See, Steel trying to go for a little bit of a cheeky boost over the smoke. He might have spotted Bubsky when he jumped. I'm not really sure because Bubsky was tucked into the pillar. So maybe not. But now we're seeing some gunfire exchange. But the damage is going the way of Luminosity, to be honest here. But Repreza has picked up Showtime at the same time. And Fragsters will go ahead and stamp it out. Steel will just be forced to save.
The way that Bubsky like jukes that plane mid is so nice. Like he's dancing back and forth, standing behind the concrete wall as well, just playing it out perfectly. Steel making the only logical call right now to save here. No reason to go into a 1v4 that's unwinnable and throw away your weapon plus utility.
Yeah.
So Fragsters will get that first round, surviving with 4 players. Now it's on the back of that very quick entry onto the bomb site from apartments.
Yep.
Usually sometimes you do see the bait play with the op in, where you're going to be scoped into the site, then you're going to scope out, make the sound, then that's going to bait the CT player to look in, and then you have a secondary AK player ready to take the angle. That didn't happen this time around. They just ran straight out and challenged the player. Very nice to put some pace on it there for Fragsters.
And Luminosity on the save. This round, again, worth noting, Fragsters quite good on Inferno, good online record. Also, this is the map they used to beat VP twice at Betsnet Masters to get that 3rd place finish. For Luminosity, it's always been a struggle for them online. So the fact that Luminosity are ahead already bodes well for them, especially with Mirage around the corner, kind of a weaker point for Fragsters and probably Luminosity's best map, or certainly at the top of their map pool.
If we're talking predictions, I would say 2-1 for Fragsters in this one.
Yeah.
Both teams taking their map choice and does 2.
But if Luminosity steals this away, then that's when things get interesting, and we'll see if they can do that on this round, steal a round away on a somewhat of a save, a deco, if you will, with the save them 4 of Steel combined with it. Dragonfly, though, perched up, looking to see if he can spot someone with the AWP. Can't quite slide out far enough.
Is behind them right now.
Caught, though. Yell with an opportunity to get behind, but Refrez able to pick up on it. And now Dragonfly's found an entry onto Showtime as well in the B bomb site. And they're not really gearing up for anything just yet. They don't want to fall prey to some type of stack. So just kind of waiting out patiently, leveraging their advantage and the amount of time left on the clock.
45 seconds. As we usually see Fragsters and Inferno very calm and collected. There's always a game plan. Stick to the script. 5 players still left. Should be no way to lose this. Neck is here. Might be able to do some magic work with his Desert Eagle, but it's a big ask.
Definitely, but there is one already delivered, but he's getting pinched from lane now as well, and that's where it's going to become too taxing for him to find much more. So bomb will get planted here by Bubsky. And so a second round for Fragsters is all but inevitable. Now it's just about Luminosity trying to, again, save this M4, and even saving a deagle for PKL would certainly be of great value. So Fragsters starting to look to close the gap right away here in Inferno.
Luminosity. We'll be able to buy up after this, no worries. Especially with the saved M4 and Steel as well.
Indeed. Also save the kit, so that is definitely good news. We are going to have a pause after this. And also, just while we're talking about Fragsters finally starting to get some rounds on their T side here, now that they've been able to get some guns, now that their economy is somewhat back in order, it's worth noting that even though this team's quite young, like I think they're aged between 16 and 21, so definitely a very young team, they don't have the characteristics that sometimes young teams have where they're like very aim reliant or very loose playing or something like that, or lacking experience or lacking tactical depth. Like, this team's actually strategically very sound. Their defaults are well structured. They have a good foundation. And I've actually seen this team innovate on some maps. Like some of their nuke tactics, some of their tactics on cash in particular. Unfortunately, we won't get to see any of those in this best of 3, but they can develop some really cool executes that other teams like pick up on. I think Sean Gaird's even told me that back when he was on Misfits, he actually would steal strats from Fragsters demos. Because, you know, he says like sometimes tier 2 is where new stuff gets tried out and developed because, you know, they're trying to find their way up to the top. So they feel like they have to kind of design something that isn't being done. They're trying to be different. And so Fragsters has, you know, kind of been noted as being one of those teams that can sometimes develop some really cool strategy. So I think that's just neat that a young team can do that. Like a team that maybe doesn't have as many experienced players still finds ways to add to the meta of Counter-Strike.
It's also an interesting point to make that the core of this team, which is of course Dragonfly and Stown, of course the two brothers, and, and then the third player, they've been together for almost 2 years now. They started out way back in 2015 as under the mixed team name Walkover, and then they had like different players. For example, the third brother in the Lund family, Dragonfly and Stown, are brothers. So they had the third brother who was in the team as well. He was later kicked because his level wasn't there. But they played together for such a long time. So that three-man core has been together for basically all of their career. Like Stown has only played with this team. That's the only team he's ever played.
And it's been unfortunate because they can't even use Stavin in MDL because he's too young. And so that's really kind of like, if you go look at their online league play, I feel like you'd be kind of deceived and you would think, oh, maybe this team isn't that great, like their record in MDL is not that great, things like that. But it's mostly because they haven't been able to play out their full 5 in those leagues just yet until Stavin becomes of age. So that's something to think about. But again, you know, they qualified for this event. I believe they qualified for Valencia.
Yes.
They, you know, did really well at Betsnet Masters. They definitely seem to be on the rise, and again, proving that the youth pool of talent in Denmark is definitely not, you know, run to the ground yet. Definitely still pretty deep.
And I feel like it's such a good place for a player like Stown to kind of grow his talent, because this is a team that's, the goal has always been to build a team around Stown, to make him shine. And this is exactly what they're doing right now. They have secondary players who can step up. I feel like Refresh and Bubsky especially.
Yeah, Bubsky at times has been a stat leader for this.
Exactly.
So.
They can step up, but the team is made around making Stown the best player he can be. And I think that's the good plan to have. So you have the three-man core, and then you have the two flanks of Bubsky and Refresh who can work on their own as well.
Yeah, exactly. Then when you look at the Luminosity side, this is a team that you know, Yale has always been branded as this really sick opping talent out of Brazil that just never found his way on like the top 2 Brazilian teams. You know, like Luminosity has really kind of clamped down these players, and the only player they've really let go is like Cello, right? Like who just went to NTC. But normally they're the ones that are kind of taking talent that kind of falls down from the top teams and implements into their own roster, and they maintain their strongest pieces, you know, pretty well. And Yale has definitely kind of been the centerfold of that with the AWP. But again, for some reason, this team, even though they've kind of grown online, like being able to get into the Pro League and being able to maintain their spot in the pros, and then, like I said, qualifying for the ECS finals and in the 4th seed, so they'll be doing that as one of their next events coming up. Unfortunately for them, they've really struggled in other qualifiers for other LAN events. Like there's been a slew of events they haven't been able to qualify for. And again, with the core of this team, all of their LAN appearances have ended in group stage exits, and there's been several LANs that's happened to them. I think maybe if you combine this year and last year, maybe like 6 or 7 different offline events that's happened.
I still remember their results at Denver when we were in Denver last year.
Then there's Montreal. There's several other DreamHack Open events that have kind of ended the same way. The last minor they played at for E-League Boston, you know, also was a group stage exit. So it's just unfortunate that you see some talent there and some promise, especially in their own structure. Like they're tactically pretty sound, I would say, as well. I think they're a little bit less diverse. I feel like they're a little bit more reliant on slow defaults and don't really have as many gimmicky or faster pace executes to mix in. So I feel like to some degree their play is kind of stale. I don't think they're as deep as say Fragsters as far as how many pages are in the playbook, but still foundationally pretty strong. So hopefully they can eventually kind of turn the corner and become a stronger offline team, because there's definitely some notable players, some experienced players on that team that you'd like to see do well.
I like the current lineup that they have right now. They have the experience and consistency of a Steel, and coaches had experience dealing with teams in the upper echelons, and then they have the mixture of the young talents as well. I always like when you mix a really experienced in-game leader or team captain with 3 or 4 younger players, and then like see if you can make that work. If you also have an experienced coach behind them, I feel like that model can work out. But we're still what, like a month into Steel and Sack joining, so there's still, like, in my mind, there's 2 more months at least before we can.
You also have to realize it's not just like a 1-for-1 roster change. It's also the fact that Steel is taking over in-game leading from, I believe, PKL, who was doing it for quite some time. So it's almost like 2 changes kind of taking place. But enough filling air. We now have the game back in front of us. And it is a double op setup coming in for Luminosity. Showtime being the secondary opper will be over towards the B side. Yell, of course, will still hold his position on the opposite side of the map. And we will see the typical players you expect working Banana for Fragsters, usually always Bubsky and Torben, who kind of work this area. Stavin and Refreza usually looking to take apartments control. So just kind of setting up that default, trying to get that initial map control. And so far they've made Showtime back up, but ooh, Bubsky just kind of jumps out there, and that's an easy pick in there for Showtime.
Nice shot. Now they're going to try and make their way up apartments after the Banana plan foiled. It's going to be apartments control, but they're getting shut down left, right, and center right now by Luminosity. Yell taking that first peek, jumping down, leaving it to Nekis to hold, together with Yell himself towards mid.
Yell holding lane. The flash will not deter him too much. He'll pop off the shot, time it right, and Refresh's out, leaving Torben all alone against the Luminosity team, who has literally not taking a lick of damage in this round. This is as flawless as it gets for Luminosity, unless Torben's able to, you know, take a parting gift with him as he exits.
Yeah, that's nice for Luminosity. They're in a situation where a tech pause has just occurred. They got dominated for the last 2 rounds, and they need to get back into the game with a full buy. They go for the double up setup, make it work.
Honestly, like, we were praising Fragster for their strategy, but that round they looked a little bit disjointed. Like, Bubsky kind of just, like, it's like that fire went down, and he thought, I guess maybe he thought he had like a good timing to jump past it and catch a frag and catch someone off guard, which can't happen. Like, once like a Molotov lands in a certain spot, or an incendiary rather, from a CT team, you feel like, oh, I can get past this before it spreads, and I won't take damage, and I'll definitely catch this guy off guard and get an opening pick, but it just didn't happen for him. And then they got caught in apartments as well by an AWP. And while they do want to take some damage, they still don't lose a player on the Luminosity side as they extend their lead a little bit further. Yeah,
they know his position. They know he hasn't have an op. If you just push him from 2 sides at one point, you're just going to max lose 1 player. And that's a trade they're willing to make at this point, even though their economy isn't as good. Fragsters on the other side of things, this will force 2 of them to buy down to bare bones setup. Yeah. It's going to be $100 on Dragonfly, 50 on Torben. Some money still left on this team, so they can definitely get something going in the next round, but let's see how this one plays out. Dragonfly, I feel like he has to be a factor in this mid, in this duel against JLG generally. Like, if he doesn't pick up at least some frags with this.
It's also a problem because I feel like T-side opping is the hardest to force yourself into having impact as an opper. That's why I see a lot of teams just run 5 rifle setups on T-side Inferno, to be honest. But they are not wasting any time pushing up March point. Yell gets caught with his pants down. Nekis will try to come in and recover, but Stavin just keeps leading the charge. 2 kills. It's all on PKL now inside the pit, and even he's gone down. What a round from the youngster. Pretty much won it for his team single-handedly, unless somehow Showtime still can recover. But it seems like saving is more their philosophy on this one, which you can't blame them after a reset coming in.
Star was like, we just lost a round. I didn't like that. Now I'm going to get 3 entries. Still going to take him out eventually, but the round is over by now. Yes, they can do economical damage, but yeah, Fragsters are back onto this one. That's what you need, right, from your star player. Just lost a round, go in and get 3 entries.
Yeah. Definitely not a bad way to do things. You could tell that Yell just really got caught.
Yeah, the timing was perfect.
Yeah, I just don't think he expected him to charge through his smoke like that quickly. I think he felt like he had a little bit more time to kind of plan himself. Normally as an opera, you want to be kind of that moto, so you can take a shot and just kind of keep re-angling, but he got caught up close on Closet, and that's pretty much all she wrote.
One thing I'm going to be looking forward to as well as this tournament progresses is how Fragsters are going to utilize their coach, a new guy named Carlsen, not really known in the Danish scene as a top-level player or anything, but he's been, from what I hear, really, really good with the team. The team really enjoying working with him. They brought him on full-time as a coach, which is a pretty big thing on their level of salary and all that stuff. So yeah, that's a big change coming in for them. And apparently he's really good at reading the game and giving feedback. So we might even see a timeout being called in the middle of a map, and he'll be giving all these instructions to the team, what to change in their setups and all that stuff. So I'm really looking forward to see how he's going to impact Fragsters here.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I heard some good things about him from the players, where he kind of just reached out to them and said, hey, I want to help you guys. And they were like, okay, sure, we'll try it. And it just kind of worked out, and they kept him on. So definitely a neat story.
Yeah, Danish, I'm a pet.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of one way to put it, as we see Showtime trying to go for a little bit of something there at Banana, but Bubsky is going to hold him off at the pass and catch Steel, who was trying to force a play and even the odds, and that means B is wide open for the taking, and they'll quickly figure that out, as they've already sent 2 kind of scouts inside of B to make sure it's clear before the bomb comes in, and now, with that information found out, the plant will come in no problem, and now it's all about whether or not Luminosity can get anything going here in middle, but again, likely another save coming.
Yeah, I don't really understand why Refresh has to challenge. That's the third challenge against an AWP in mid he's done so far. That's pretty much just throwing away an AK. He's just courting death at that point. And I know seems like a proper banter guy with the 4 Luminosity stickers on his AK, so he might have some personal vendetta, but it just seems like a stupid decision in my opinion. And I only say that because I feel like Refresh is, despite his age, actually has really good decision making. So this situation is
usually one of the more passive players on the team as well. Like usually more of a peripheral role player. I guess you could call him like a lurker to some degree. So yeah, definitely a little bit uncharacteristic for him to go for that. But we do have Fragsters climbing back into this game now. They've won 4 of the last 5 rounds, and they've reset the economy of Luminosity once already. And the money is becoming a problem for LG. I mean, they're able to get a bye this round, but it includes Showtime having to play with the FAMAS to get utility. And if they lose this round, they're definitely going to be saving. So that's when Fragsters can actually take the lead.
It might be a C-set save, but probably just going to be pistols. So this is an important round. Nekis though, AK-47 goes aggressive, but Stown shuts him down immediately. Yell also in a good position, but locked down by the AK. 2 positions where the CT should have a tiny advantage, but doesn't end up going their way.
Yeah, just trying to see if they can't, do like a double push in apartments, get some early picks and fade back. But Fragsters, again, usually able to play like a really sound default and hold back and wait for those types of things, are well prepared and deliver on it. So they have a 5-on-3 very early in the round. PKL trying to see if he can't reel it back in just a bit. He does take down the star player of Fragsters with that headshot, so not a bad scalp to find if you're trying to climb back into a round.
I feel like Luminosity right now are finding too many 1v1 duels. The strength of Fragsters is when they hit a very specific execute and come in with numbers and a good timing, like they're doing now on the B side if there were anyone to defend it. But I feel like during this round, so many 1v1s have been forced, and that's where Luminosity will eventually win out in the long run on the CT side. But
ooh, well, they expect this flank that fast. Dragonfly does here. He turns around, does fall, but Bubsky's there to be the guardian angel and support him out. And now it's all on Steel, 1v2. They know exactly where he is. He's low on HP already. He does have an incendiary and a kit, so he may think about going for this, especially if he can get a quick kill on the first player. But if you can't find a quick pick, trying to push into the site in a crossfire is going to be very difficult. He needs to try to see if he can't find a way to get a 1v1. He does put the incendiary in dark corner. Unfortunately, no one there to be flushed out by it. They're hiding behind a pillar in new box. So he's just not spotting anything, not gaining what he needs to feel confident to go for the clutch. And so he will just back off as the money is quite low. I think this op that he's found is probably the only real gun they're going to have next round other than upgraded pistols.
This is yet another round where Steel is forced to save. He's only died twice in these 10 rounds here. I think it's 3 or 4 times he's been forced to save alone in a situation where it's been either 1v2 as now, or 1v3 or 1v4. And that always sucks, like when you're that player that arrives the last to the bomb site and, okay, I have no chance. Unless they give me an opening for free, I'm just going to have to save my gun once again. And that can become taxing over a best of 3 if he's going to be left in those scenarios a lot of times.
It's one of those things where the apartment aggression failed, and so really their only win condition was to try to really get a jump on them on that flank and catch a timing where Fragsters weren't ready for it. But Bubsky, kind of the insurance policy, I guess you could say, on that round, cashed in.
That was a very late peek from the CTs. Nice Beagle, though, coming in from Showtime. That's what he can do. And after that quick aggression on Banana, all 3 players immediately rotate CT. So once again, they know that they're in a really, really tough spot. After showing presence on that B bomb side, everyone's just stacking A now.
Yeah, they're just gambling, which in a round like this, you kind of have to give yourself your best chance to win. When you don't have any armor, no kit, you kind of have to hope that you can stack something together and win fights, or rotate together onto a retake and hope you can just use sheer numbers and trading to fight your way back in. And they might have a chance to pick up on something here with this mid-aggression. If Yell can find something with this AWP, he does spot a player on stairs.
Stown. That's a nice one from Yell, though. 1 for 1. They know the position of Stown right now. They can push him for 2 different angles. He's going to take down the first one, refresh. We'll get that. Stown has rotated away.
So back into a 2-on-2. Bomb still down by stairs. Has to try to come up through this smoke and get up Banana. Yell trying to come in and chase it down, but through the smoke, Stown able to get the kill. And then it's all too easy for Dragonfly to pick up on the final player as Fragsters take a lead for the first time this game.
And I feel like it's been long overdue. They've had some solid buy rounds. You can kind of see the difference when Fragsters have the full setup with the utility and everything. I feel like there's a difference. Steel is definitely trying to carry his part of the load, but the rest of Luminosity, we're kind of missing the individual step-ups from them. We only see it in like small like glimmers. We see PKL picking a 1 deagle up, Showtime on the banana with a deagle as well. But we need the consistency for those players.
Yeah, ultimately their aggression has usually not netted them what they wanted. As they are going to try to go for something like that again. Showtime though runs right past the player on the wall, and so he gets blended by Torben and Bubsky, who are on opposite ends of the banana.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Once again, like Luminosity, they find themselves in a position where they feel like they have to go aggressive to gain some kind of control over the game. And while they're doing that, they actually allow themselves to gamble too much. Yell could be the one.
Ooh,
I think this is back.
Never mind.
Shuts down the banana control. Will force the rotation of the bomb.
Yeah, so at least he's able to try to slow down the momentum of Fragsters just a bit, but now Fragsters, who have control of top middle, are able to just start kind of using their utility to start isolating that bomb site. They block off PKL's vision with that smoke, so coming into plant is a foregone conclusion. It's all about whether or not Luminosity can find some way to construct a retake. They have a couple of kits, they have a couple of flashes, so we'll see if they can find anything out, or if they will just save again. Yep, that's going to be the case.
The smokes, man.
It's just the money's not there.
Yeah. It's also a correct choice, right? Because 3v4 coming into it, you don't have that much money on your account. You know that you can do some kind of a force buy if you save 3 rifles. I would also say that the way the Fragsters just go into a site, their coordination with smokes and flashes is just on point every single time. If you were an upcoming team, maybe playing in the Advanced Division or MDL or something like that, look at the way that Fragsters just play their T side. So meticulous every single time. You're not going to find a round where they slip up. Everything is according to plan.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, like on Inferno, we talk about how they innovate on some maps, some cool tactics, but I feel like on Inferno, it's really hard to innovate. And so I think it's really more about like just drilling the basics and really having a good foundation, like making sure your default is functional. Everyone knows what they should be doing. You kind of have like flow charts for if this happens, this is what we should do. And you just really drill that into the core of your team. And people build that muscle memory playing, the same spots and establishing their roles. And I feel like Fragsters has really done well with that and having good discipline and making sure that they're always setting up opportunities to trade off of each other. Their spacing's always appropriate. And so it's about just having those basics down. And I think that really helps them out a lot.
Let's see here. It's going to be the force buy. Not really a force buy, it's just they're lacking a bit of utility on Luminosity's side, but money's definitely not looking good on 3 of the players if they lose this.
Yeah. After that hard reset they had a few rounds ago, it's really just been downhill from there as far as being able. That's why you had to see them just save so many times. Like they've been trying to make sure that they have as many gun rounds as possible. It's just they still haven't gotten anything from it, unfortunately. Every now and then you see them get a pick or something like that, but it feels like Fragsters are always a little bit more efficient on the trading across the map. They've always been able to really establish themselves at top banana and middle with little trouble. I feel like Luminosity is always playing either without information or a man down from trying to do something aggressive and it not working out.
That's on point. Totally agree with that. And once again, like Stown has been allowed to that smoke towards long, just to take the top mid control. He wants to take that fight towards short any single time because he knows he's going to win out in a straight aim duel. So he's just being a nuisance right now, forcing them to play so far back on the bomb side.
Yep. Oh, missed shot there from Yell that he's going to hate that. He also misses a second opportunity that's down. He's able to just kind of keep weaseling his way around this A bomb site. And he's holding these 3 players in place while the B attacks the main action, but Showtime steps up and delivers a couple of kills. He's still alive. He might find a 3rd if he does. And a 4th. Showtime stepping up big here. It was looking dangerous when you're looking at positioning on the map, but Showtime doesn't have any time for that, as he just steps up and makes a big play, and now it's all on Staff trying to come around, but Showtime actually gets the ace! What a play from this man!
That's what we need to see. We need to see individuals stepping up to the plate right now for Luminosity, and we got exactly that. Showtime with the M4. Execute from Fragsters, not good enough. Flashbang timing was perfect, holding the angle every single time. Perfection.
When I was watching that round unfold, I thought for sure Fragsters were about to punish Luminosity. Stown was basically holding A by himself. They were getting into B really nicely, but a good pop flash for Showtime to play off of definitely worked out well. And now we're going to see Fragsters try to fight right back, see if they can't reset Luminosity, which would be really rough for Luminosity because their money is definitely not in the best of shape, definitely would be probably a save coming out next round. Or, well, no, obviously they'd force buy, but it just wouldn't be the best of buys, I guess you could say.
That is true. Once more. Lots of utility in apartments. Storm going away, but once more, like, they're giving top mid away so many times right now, Luminosity. They're not even challenging it. Like, from a beginning start point, like, for the first 15 seconds, they have a guy that then just rotating back.
I think the flashes have been really the big problem. Like, Yell does try to go for the peak, but he just always gets pushed back. Now, luckily for Luminosity, they do have 4 players in the area of A, so they're right on the money on where they need to be. They had the best chance to take the round earlier rather than having to play for a retake. Good kill from Steel, but it's traded.
See a Yell now on the back of the site. AWP in hand. Neck is taken down. Start the best player now eliminated, but Refresh with a secondary frag coming in now. That has allowed him to go into CT spawn. The rotation is happening right now. It's Showtime all alone at the B bomb site. Can he be the hero again? Has the flank coming in. They need to time this correctly. Takes down the first one. Instant refrag from Refresh in the back. Now Neck is 1v2. Bomb is still on Torben. It's going to be planted on B. Neck is signaling that he wants to go for this. Let's see. It probably comes down to if he gets that first opening. If he gets it, then he can go for it. If not, then rotate away and save once more. Neck is making his way into the site, checking every angle, just a still bit before him. This is the exact same situation. But Fragsters are not going to give him anything. Actually, Refresh goes in, but instant refrag once more coming in from Torben. Refresh with a 3K and solid round from Fragsters. Luminosity, I feel kind of bad for them to some extent because so many rounds end up in a Luminosity player having to try and clutch a 1v2 or 1v3. And the individual level they have on these players is very high in my opinion, but it's just so hard when you have to clutch every single round.
Yeah, and I feel like it's just Fragsters have a little bit more firepower man for man than Luminosity. Like, I think Yell's kind of a clear favorite on the Luminosity side, but I feel like a lot of the other players have really struggled. Like, Still's never really been known to be a mass fragger. Yeah. And even though Showtime has had some improvement, still definitely not up to the same standard as some of these players from Fragsters and what they've been able to accomplish. And we are seeing some exchanges going over here at top Banana, which is going to be favoring Fragsters just a little bit. 4-on-4s usually are always going to sway kind of to the T side because you're stretching the defense thin, forcing them to make decisions on if they want to stack a site and just leave one guy to solo a site, or if you're going to go 2 to each site, but that means your rotations are going to be bad. And now Dragonfly just kind of keeps tilting the balance in favor of Fragsters with that pick. Walking me down to this pit player who just hides in the corner.
Yeah,
trying to dodge flashes.
Like
but yeah.
It's at 75 though. Can always be dangerous. 2v3 retake. Once again, like, it's a hard choice to go for this one, but once more, if they get an opening here, this is doable. They're gonna go for the boost.
To. Last
it
round.
It's the last round as well.
Yeah.
It's the same story though. Like,
they're
going for the.
They're just trapped in the closet.
Post plans. Yeah, this is not working out, is it? Storm coming in from the back. This round is over. Get him out of here. Luminosity. I feel like they could have done more, but the Fragsters just shut them down.
I mean, they were up 1 point, like 4-0, I'm pretty sure.
Yep, won the pistol.
And then they only won 2 more rounds from that point forward. So 9 of the last 11 go the way of Fragsters, including 2 hard resets against Luminosity in that mixture. So that certainly didn't help things. Like you said, so many rounds where Fragsters would get such a clear early advantage that Luminosity felt the need that they just had to keep saving, So many rounds where 2 or 3 players were just left saving after the first 30 seconds or 40 seconds of the round because there's just no chance at the retake in their mind. Because Fragsters would always be like 1 or 2 men ahead with solid post-plant positioning. So it was definitely an uphill climb for Luminosity, you know, once Fragsters kind of got their economy rolling.
Another interesting fact is, out of the 9 rounds that Fragsters won on this T side, 6 of them was decided in quotation marks by the bomb exploding. That's 6 rounds where Luminosity were forced to save.
Yeah.
That's a really rough scenario to come in as a CT team. Like, you're forced to save that many rounds. That also gives you, like a peck down on your confidence, right? Like, if you constantly have to just think to yourself, okay, I can't take this duel. And that's such an important thing. Like, players talk about it all the time. We talk about it all the time. Confidence in Counter-Strike is so important. And if you constantly lose it in all these duels, feel like you can't go into a 1v2 or 1v3 because it isn't the right choice, then that can translate into your like your T side if you want to go for a peek to open up a site, and you need to have that confidence.
Yeah, we see Bubsky solo holding B right now. Is kind of taking a pretty good peek here. He has all the information on Banana that he could want to know whether or not they're going to be pushing that area, so he can be like a quick alert system for a rotation if needed. But for right now, you see Refreja, who's normally a B player for this team, kind of sitting in CT spawn, making sure he can be quick to rotate to either site that seems to be getting challenged. And it looks like B is going to be the intended target for Luminosity as they start to gather back up here with the bomb, leaving one player towards middle, but the rest are lining up at bottom Banana, and soon Bubsky will be seeing some action. No, he does escape, but maybe won't get all the way out. Actually, he does just barely get around Oranges, but his teammate goes down, and now he's in a lot of trouble with low HP. Stuck in the back of the site, but he gets one parting gift at least, but still a massive advantage for Luminosity.
No players coming in from Banana, and another terrorist in the back of the CT retake. This is not going to go well for the Danes, surely. Luminosity has this one in the bag.
Yeah, Yell even on the flank from Spawn. That's going to make things even rougher, but Savage gets one.
Doesn't have a kit, though. He has to push for this.
And he's not going to find anything. They're both playing over towards the construction area. They step out together. No chance for him. Good spacing with Neckets and Showtime to not allow him to just pop off 2 one-taps or something like that. So good round for Luminosity. Despite the fact they had a big gap in the smoke on CT spawn, I was a little bit worried about that when you saw Dragonfly get a kill on the edge of the smoke. But after that, they still took care of business.
That Sentry is coming in from Showtime here. Taking down 2 players on the bomb side. 1 CT, 1 site. Now 3 AKs coming in for the Brazilians. Fragsters, though, with the very dangerous scout CC buy. We've seen this time and time again, but if Sound can't hit those opening frags, then it's going to be hard for the rest of the team to kind of double up with the C-sets later on.
A smoke put down at bottom Banana allows Fragsters to put a little bit of aggressive pressure here on Banana to kick things off, but the scout goes down thanks to the AK of Yell. It's already kind of doing the right things here. It's going to be Luminosity getting that first kill. There's a little bit of an interesting setup from Fragsters over by Boiler, so I'm curious if that will net them anything, but as PKL clears out the Banana push, it may not even come into effect. Have like this little high-low stat kind of going on lane, but I don't know if it'll factor in at this point.
Nice shot, down to 12 HP, yeah. But still, good advantage for the Brazilians. Torben will come in and grab one, but still straight in the back of him. Perfect timing from the experienced in-game leader.
And Dragonfly trying to post up the watch mid, but still just wraps around Moto, grabs himself another kill, farming some cash with this UMP. Of course, an extra cash bonus for SMG frags, but Bubsky won't allow him anymore. But still the round, of course, comfortably going to Luminosity. Now Bubsky might see if he can't bring a couple of players down, see if he can't get his own cash out of this.
Yeah, I think he got the information that damage has been done to them, so if they push him, he can actually take a duel, but eventually he's going to try and rotate away to save his life. PKL has read that like an open book and comes in, takes the frag, another round for Luminosity.
Indeed it is. So this is exactly what Luminosity needs to kind of quickly get right back into the game, right? You don't want to allow basically Fragsters to double their lead from 9-6 to 12-6, and then you're really fighting an uphill battle. You lose like 1 gun round and the pressure's really on, but now they provided themselves an opportunity to go ahead and tie the game up right away, as Fragsters do have to take a full save here at middle. Just stacking up over towards brackets, and they've been spotted. Or at least some of them have, and Showtime is just continuing to do some stats. Might even get another ace now. He had an ace, of course, in the first half. Could find himself an eco ace here. But no, Refresh is way far away, so probably not.
Trying to use the sound here. That's why he's actually looking where the sound is coming from. He knows what's going on.
He's on the gear. Tracing him through the wall. Obviously not.
Yeah,
There's a lot of jumping around going on.
Yeah, but for those maybe seeing a CS match for the first time, you can actually hear a tiny bit better if you aim towards where you think the opponent is. So that's why he's tracing him through the wall. And you get a little bit more of extra information, a little bit extra volume there.
There you go. So finally, the cash has come in for Fragsters. They'll get the AWP on Dragonfly. Very mobile op on Inferno. He can be almost everywhere on the map. I've seen him play pretty much every spot there is on Inferno with an AWP, so it's definitely going to make it maybe hard for Luminosity to figure out where he's playing from. And look at this aggressive maneuver up middle from the youngster, looking to see if he can't draw some early blood. He hears his player in window, hoping that he'll fall back into his crosshair, but he can also push mid and get to Banana. He can do so much here.
And no mid control. This is the opposite of what Fragsters were doing on their T side. They quickly took top mid control. Now Stout is pushing all the way down.
And he could really be in for some big kills and basically win the round. Or he can go down if Luminosity is proficient. But no, it's a multi-frag for him. He's given team such a big advantage. He turns around for another, almost takes down Steel as well. Dragonfly will take the opportunity to peek into middle and grab himself a frag. And Bubsky comes in too, so off the back of the 16-year-old's play, Fragsters will take the lead right back.
That was one of the plays, like, that's a perfect example of why we're hyping up Stout so much. Like, he just has the guts and the read to do a play like that. And then his aim is allowing him to get the first 2K very close to a 3K. He almost senses what comes before it actually happens due to sound and just reading the game. He's just on point.
Indeed. Well done. Steel does find the AWP, gets into the sewers here. We'll just look to fade back towards his spawn and try to carry over the sniper to the next round. Give Yell a chance perhaps to put it to good use. Surprisingly enough, Steel and Showtime are the top fraggers for their team in this game, which are two of the players you typically expect to be more towards the bottom of the scoreboard. Not that they're bad, but typically players like Yell and Nekus are kind of more of the known fraggers for the team.
I feel like Showtime is a tiny bit underrated player. Like, I feel like individually he can step up. He doesn't do it a lot, but he has definitely the potential to do it.
Well, he's had a big game so far here.
Yeah.
Had several rounds in the first half that kind of kept Luminosity in the hunt. That ace being really one of them.
And it's very important when your big players, for example, like Yell, is not really having the best of times, and you have a secondary player who can step up alongside the most experienced one, of course, on land, which is Steel. And you have Showtime who could say, okay, I'll join the party as well. I'll carry some of this burden. Yell now stepping up, winning that duel against Dragonfly. That was what we talked about. Those two dueling it out. Dragonfly had to win those. One more going the way of the Brazilian.
Steel might be catching a nice little timing here up lane. It does get the headshot on this down, so that was really well done. Kind of crept his way up short and finds the headshot. And now we have a 4-on-3 in favor of Luminosity, who also control arches and library now as well. So they have A pretty well contained. And Slubsky trying to fight his way through it all. In the meantime, though, Torben goes down inside the bomb site, so the bomb is going to get planted, no problem. Refreza, though, able to come around middle, grabs a kill, keeps his team at least in the race for this retake. So they do have kits on both players, a flash on Refreza, have head armor on Bubsky, but PKL doesn't care about that. He just steps up, delivers a couple of kills, and ties the game right back up. This is starting to become a nice little game to watch.
Yeah, close series. And what we have to keep in mind right now is that this is not actually the pick of Luminosity. We have Mirage coming up. Inferno is also a good map for Luminosity, but it's definitely out of Mirage and Inferno. That's where like Fragsters are the best.
Fragsters are way more proven on this map than Luminosity is. But luckily for Luminosity, Mirage is next. That's a map that they probably, you would say, are a better performer on.
31.2% win rate on Mirage for Fragsters, and they're not playing top-tier teams all the time.
Yeah, so if Luminosity can steal Inferno away, that would set them up actually quite nicely.
Yeah. I agree. I think if they take Inferno, I think they're going to take the game. But
yeah, it's very possible.
Still a lot of CS to be played, a lot of frags to be seen. This is not the biggest buy.
Mag 7's out this time.
Yeah, Swag 7.
Don't see it too often these days.
You can play it in that opponent. It's on Banana right now as well. Just can dance around with the angles.
Well, Refreza getting one, but PKL is quick to trade right back, so it stays even 4-on-4. A little bit of Apartment's presence already being built up here by Luminosity. Yellow is going to be bringing that op over towards middle. Bomb is going to be behind him on the back of PKL.
This 3-man stack is going to be interesting.
This
plays out.
This high-low stack. We saw them use it before, but it didn't get found out. So now they'll actually get to put it to use. And here it goes, but it doesn't net them anything. Steel and PKL clean that up with little issue. And And so it is going to be Luminosity finally fighting back for a lead here.
The Danish Jenga tower just falls apart.
Yeah, it didn't do well.
Hate to see.
It's like drunken Jenga when you're at the bar and you've had too many. And Jenga's already hard, but then, you know, you had a couple of fat tires from New Belgium, and then, hey, hashtag.
There we go.
I mean, they say Voodoo Ranger IPA on the bottom, but I'm not a big pale ale fan. But they definitely, Fat Tire was like the beer of the college days for me. If you wanted like good beer.
I'll just have a, yeah, I'll have one. I haven't tried it. Looking forward to it at some point. Let's see here. Poopski now all alone, looking to save this AK-47, so not a lot really you can do with this situation. Maybe now this is time to grab a pale ale or a monster or something. Just to chill out for a bit. And you're dead.
He did.
Steel coming in from the flank on that side. 11 to 10. And a pause coming in. Let's see, was called by Fragsters.
Yeah, understandably so. They're coming into a round where they still don't have any money, so 12-10 is likely not something they can really do too much about, but hopefully they can kind of gather themselves up once they get their economy back in order and hopefully get an AWP in Dragonfly's hands, get him more involved. He's definitely had a tougher time this game. It's really just been the Stalin show, to be honest. So he's only one on this team that's positive right now.
And it's actually interesting because the point you made earlier is that the frag difference between these players on Fragsters usually isn't that big, but in this game actually Stalin way ahead of his opposition. And the two players in that core three that support him, which are Torben, the in-game leader, and Dragonfly, the AWPer, are the ones on the lower amount of frags, while Refresh and Boobski are doing their part on the flanks, right? So it's definitely proving that something needs to be changed. And this is the timeout we just see. This is not the round they talked about, but the round coming after this. That's where I feel like Carlson, their coach, can make the difference, right? Come with the call, come with the suggestion, and can help them fix the issues while they're actually happening.
Kind of curious. I mean, usually like battles for banana is always kind of something big that you're going to see as CTs want to go for like triple B pushes and Ts want to fight for it. You can always see those early exchanges at banana, so that could be something. Typically not so much at middle or apartments. It's usually a little bit slower. So we'll have to see what happens there as a wide open B bomb site gets planted on here. And so the 5 remaining Fragsters members are not going to be able to really do anything. And we'll just basically run to their death, you would imagine. If they can get a kill and somehow steal a gun away and save it, that'd be great, but unlikely to do much here. Yeah, just line it up for PKL and Neckets to do the full house of frags between the two of them.
Lambs to the slaughter.
Indeed. Couldn't expect much more than that.
So much money, though, on the T side right now. 12K after Baron PKL, 10.6K after Baron Steel. The economy is really, really building for Luminosity. And on the other side of things, we have the exact opposite. Like, Fragsters are buying down to bare bones. They still have Boobski on a FAMAS. They're still missing utility. Only one kit on Refresh. Only one Molotov on Boobski. So, money's definitely not looking good for the Danes.
Yeah, definitely not. Luminosity looking to try to get into Banana here. They do get the better of the exchange. You could definitely see that there was an emphasis from Fragsters to fight for control of this area of the map, but Luminosity is there to greet them. Well done by PKL and Yell to get Luminosity the early advantage here.
You're not going to expect the op, though, I think.
Maybe not. Hopefully Dragonfly can get his team back into making this round competitive. Does get spotted and hit, though. Not for too much damage, but the very fact that they know where he is now will help them try to come into a more vulnerable A bomb site as they jump out the balcony. Torben, though, able to strike back a bit, gets it into a 2-on-2, so now it's at least a reasonable round for them to try to work. But Luminosity certainly still could pull this one out.
Torben is at pit. Very hard position to flush a CT out of, especially when you have no Molotov left on that T side. Dragonfly is just trying to dance around, trying to make sure they can. Rotating through CT, but the timing there almost gets the better of him. Holding down the angle. Taking down Neckis now. It's all on PKL. He's on the opposite side. He's going to get that bomb plant for free. There was one kit on the CT side when this round started. It hasn't been picked up yet.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious if it will get picked up, if they know where it is. Yeah. Looks like it's not going to be right now, as they're both coming in through CT spawn together. PKL playing inside the site here, holding an angle from Banana side. A little bit of utility here on Frags to try to work their way in with, but he catches the first one basically for free.
Oh, he's playing and play this angle.
Yeah, he
unless he gets the Molotov down. Yeah, it's one. It should be one for PKL.
Really well done for PKL. Torben not really sure whether he should place the Incinerator to stop him from being able to push into the site, or whether he should put it to flush him out of that corner. Understandable. But PKL does steal one away, basically, there. Really well played.
And this is what we needed to see from him. And from Nekkis as well, because they're definitely capable of doing these rounds, doing these clutches, making it happen.
Yeah. The thing is, PKL, for me, when he was the in-game leader of the team, was actually a pretty solid fragging in-game leader. Now he doesn't have to worry about in-game leading, so you would hope that that kind of opens him up to be even better. And that was an interesting boost.
I think it was the boost for the counter boost on the other side of the small concrete wall, but when that full push happens in from Steel, there's just no way. But P250 always strong, especially if you can get that first dink in. But now they know his position. Gets the second dink.
Okay.
P250 in Boopski's hands, just
what is
ravaging
going on?
them.
What, it's not even a CZ doing it. It's P250.
Yep.
And now we actually have Stown, who's on the flank with the CZ in armor, and he's going to be able to come behind on Banana here soon.
Secondary pistol player on the site now.
Yep, there's 3 players actually at B already, so this is actually getting a little bit scary for Luminosity, but Showtime and company trying to see if they can't brute force their way through it all, and it seems like they are able to do so.
Very nice shutdown in the end. Very nice shutdown. Making sure that the player coming in from the flank as well got him before he could do any damage, coming back of the lines, but made it happen. 14-10. Fragsters, this is the round they need to win. Yeah. If they don't win this round, Inferno goes to Luminosity. Double up setup, desperation up setup.
Yeah, it does seem that way. I rarely ever see them run double up on CT side when I watch their Inferno games.
It is a desperation play.
Yeah, it does feel that way, doesn't it? As we do see a little bit of action taking place at middle already. Shots fire, but no one hitting the mark. So basically no harm, no foul, nothing gained, but nothing lost. Snap trying to kind of boost up here on the wood plank and try to look over the smoke. Not a bad call, but no one is obliging him by running through, so he won't be able to gain anything just yet. Starts spraying, does a lot of damage to Steel, but can't get the kill, and in fact, Yell's the one to draw the first frag of the round. At least Down is able to reply, but not efficiently, because he's brought down right away. So Luminosity winning the trading game as they come into A.
Torben alone on the offside, does take the first one, secondary duel. Will he win it though? 2 Brazilians coming in, Showtime picking up fresh. Flank coming in, Showtime doubles up now on a triple kill this round, and Boopski forced into the same situation as Luminosity was so many times on their CT side. 1v3, has to save his weapon. Yeah,
it's one of those things where it looks like Fragsters aren't doing anything wrong. They just look flat in general. And it was kind of the same thing yesterday against EU United, where they just didn't show up the same way I've seen them play before.
They're also making like tiny little movement mistakes in their setup. There was one player who went for an aggressive peek with an AWP towards mid and then had to rotate back. He got blocked by a teammate. Yeah. And it doesn't make any difference. Like, no one dies off it, but it just shows the small cracks that are in the armor right now for Fragsters. That is not 100% perfect, and they need to be perfect to do well in this tournament.
Yeah, and it is worth noting that this is indeed only their second international tournament. Yes. Their first time traveling outside of Europe.
And Showtime is on 26.
Yeah, Showtime's definitely having a big game, like a much bigger game than what you normally expect from him, which is great. Great that he's able to step up. And I mean, I would like to see Luminosity finally hit a playoffs. Like, I think that that would be kind of a big milestone for them as a team that's always really struggled offline throughout the last year or so. Even going back to some of their older lineups before Nekkis and Chell, back when they had like Shiz and Destiny on the team. It's a lot of the same story. Just, you know, growing in the NA scene from an online perspective and being kind of like, oh crap, is a third Brazilian team going to start taking over North America? Was like kind of the sentiment a lot of people had, but it never really transferred for them offline the same way it did for, you know, teams like Tempo Storm, which became Immortals, and then Luminosity, which, you know, developed into SK, and it would be nice to finally see them kind of break that. And I always want to see good things happen for Steel. I mean, such a great guy.
Let's see, Dragonfly. Confidence play goes into mid. Let's see if it's going to pay off.
That was close.
Free fire, but just a smidge away.
I feel like there's some follicles of hair that fell off of Yell's head there. Just didn't find the dome.
Yeah. He's definitely deaf now. Like.
Yeah, I mean, like he got a little bit of a haircut there. A little bit of a graze.
Still missing utility on the CT side, as one would expect. They're buying everything they can. This is potentially the last round of Inferno. This is their last stand on their own map choice.
Triple lane stack here for them. That means that Arch is wide open, and it also means rotating to B is harder. So they really need this exchange at middle to work. And to be fair, they're trying to stay their ground, but really good uses of Molotovs to push them off of this stack. It feels like Luminosity had to read it. They were doing this a lot, and they're trying to force players apart. Stown, though, holding his ground, gets the bomb down, gets 2, and Dragonfly chimes in, his brother, being right there to kind of... It's almost like they were picking on him at school, and he kind of came in and said, leave him alone. Got the op frag. Gets away, too.
Just away. That's nice movement as well, just going onto the bomb side. Neck is last man standing, 1v3. 30 seconds to go. Can rotate into CT. There's one player who's pushed down. Banana, that's Refresh. So he's going to be the solitary player on that B bomb side. He's going to stay Banana the second he hears footsteps, so here's the bomb. He's going to push in and take that frag. Can Nekis fake him out? That's the question.
Or plant inside the smoke and hope to at least get bomb money. Maybe escape from the smoke and somehow win this 1v1 against Refresh. I'm not sure. Let's at least get that.
See if Refresh actually waits for his teammates here. That
Probably.
might be the call.
You'd hope so.
Yeah. Yeah, he's doing that. That's nice. That's what you need to do. Now, if they just push in on the same time, there should be no chance. But let's see if Nekis can take it.
That well played by Fragsters. Good discipline to make sure that that one went their way. And so they will stay alive in this, at least for now. They still have a difficult road ahead to put this into overtime, but they are one step closer now thanks to that. I thought that Luminosity was doing really well early. Like, I think they used a good Molotov to kind of break apart that stack, but it just came down to the fact that Stown by himself got 2 kills in the bomb down.
Yeah,
he really did a lot of work.
From a position where he's been 2 times in a row and at least 4 times in the last 5 rounds.
Yep.
So they should be aware of him now. Like, they should either flash a molly out that position or pre-fire him because they cannot allow this to keep happening. And know he's a good aim player, so it's very hard to challenge him in a 1v1 from that position.
Also, not only did he get the 2 kills, but he opened up Dragonfly for 1 as well. So that was big. And now he's just up close by himself, gets 4 through the smoke. What a play for this kid.
16 years old, filled with talent. Martin Lund, straight out of Denmark.
That's so weird. He was just inside the middle of the smoke. I can't wait to see that replay.
That was one of the best individual spray downs I've seen.
Wow. Gets the ace, too, in the end. My gosh.
Take a bow, Stown.
That's a play that'll get your blood flowing.
Take a bow.
Yeah, I want to see this replay. I can't wait. It happens in such an unorthodox way. Just on the smoke.
That turner. No way.
Bro. The first one, I get it, because he's like in an odd spot. But then as he's just holding the trigger down, it's just no one can trade him for whatever reason. It's not like they were blind or anything either. They just couldn't find the shot.
Number 2 and 3 frags, and that ace was out of this world.
Yeah, really good control of the spray. We've had some big individual plays this map. Like you had, Showtime's ace in the first half. Now Stown with his ace there. Plus, the round before that, he had a really big multi-frag moment, so he's definitely coming alive.
It is the Stown show. He's on 26 to 22.
Yeah.
The closest teammate is on 16. Refresh on Banana. Doing good work here. Nekis, 1 for 1 though.
Oh.
Still the shows like both charming in. Stown once more has to save this first team.
He does. He has to come up huge now. He's all that's left. Bubsky's down. This might be asking a bit much. I think he might get picked. He hears the bomb. Pre-fires though, so the bomb is able to kind of fall back. He pushes the fire. Can he still get the bomb down? No, he keeps hunting for this bomb. He wants to get it down, but he can't do it. Yell will put him to rest. And despite the big play from Stown in the previous round, Luminosity don't let it get to him. They keep their composure, and they lock up Inferno. They steal the map pick away from Fragsters, and we're going to Mirage next, where Luminosity, you have to think, are certainly favored. Mirage being kind of on the weaker end of Fragsters' map pool, and Mirage might be Luminosity's best map, to be honest. At least at Steel Joint's been their best statistically, so they've done well here to get that one.
It is now up to Fragsters to go off the stage, kind of refine themselves and think about, okay, how do we attack this? This is one of the worst maps. 31.2 win percentage on Mirage for them. Stown has to think, okay, I did my best, but that doesn't really matter because you win and lose as a team, and that's one of the mentalities that Fragsters really try to focus on as well. Right. So they're going to go back and say, okay, how can we fix this as a team?
It just seemed like, again, that there wasn't really any big mistakes, maybe a couple of small errors here and there. couple of hiccups here and there. For the most part, they just looked flat in general, I think, other than Snow, which is uncharacteristic because usually a team that has good frag distribution, good, you know, amount of fraggers on the team as a whole. But anyway, folks, we're going to be taking a short break. When we come back, we're going to be bringing you Map 2 of this series, so stay tuned. We'll be back in a few.
Place your bets at